Omens of the Third Age. Fresh and Buds now.
Fresh and
Alright, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh, and you are all my buds. It is episode 250. Pretty crazy to think about. I'm excited to be here with all of you. I am going to be talking about every single card in Omens of the Third Age. So strap in, we're going to have a good time. I'm not sure how many reprints there are, but if there's a reprint, I'll probably kind of mention it and then kind of skip over from there. But other than that, it's Omens of the Third Age is an interesting set, but we got to talk about our rating system. It is as follows: Fresh to Death. This is the highest tier you can get from me. These are format defining, etc. Something like a Command and Conquer is a Fresh to Death. And then after that, you got Fresh. This is a just solid card that you want in your deck. You're happy to have in your deck. You're not waiting for something better to be printed per se. So there's a lot of these in these sets because, you know, a lot of them are dependent on kind of making the heroes within them work. So we'll see a lot of them, especially at Majestic and Rare, but it should be interesting. And then after that, we have Stale. These are kind of on the other side of that. Certainly playable, but you'd rather be playing something else if you had the opportunity. So kind of reluctantly in your deck. Think of them like that. So these are, you know, maybe an arrow in Riptide that you're like, I just got to play it because I got to fill out this deck. I need something better. And then boom, they print Murky Water. So stuff like that. After that, we have Rotten. These are cards I really don't think we'll see play. A lot of in Flesh and Blood, a lot of the cards that fall into the Rotten tier tend to be, you know, niche, right? Very, you know, geared towards casual formats or multiplayer, etc., etc. But I think that for the most part, we don't see a lot of Rottens because also we have a sideboard grade, which I'll say this is for sideboard, and this is how good I think it is as being a sideboard card, as well as maybe some like cards that perhaps are not good now, but you want to watch out for them, right? So there's kind of that gray area in the Rotten Stale zone sometimes, but we'll be talking about that. Now, this is going to be a classic constructed review, although I think I will mention if I think something is probably decent in classic constructed, but definitely keep an eye on it for Silver Age. So I guess without further ado, we're going to get right into it, starting with, yes, the fabled Voltaris. This is a blue lightning resource gem legendary. You can only have one in your deck. And when this is pitched, create a lightning flow token. Now, lightning flow tokens, you will see with these heroes that we'll be talking about, are pretty important for what they do. So with that being said, this is regrettably a very high fresh, if not fresh to death in these decks, because it's a pretty rare card. So, you know, it's going to be very expensive. So hopefully open it, folks, because you might want to be playing this in the decks we're about to be talking about. But Voltaris is good on paper, very good, and is very important for these heroes. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But it is very good. Maybe high fresh, low fresh to death in these decks, and just open one, folks. Easy as pie. I've opened so many Fables, as in 0, but I digress. Let's talk about Ziggy Starlight. Lightning Illusionist hero, 4 intellect, 40 health, and then 2 and 20 for the young hero. Has an ability. Instant, pay 2 resources and tap it. Destroy a lightning flow you control. Banish another lightning aura permanent you control with no hollow counters return the banished aura to the arena with a holo counter. So, clearly Ziggy wants to be blinking a bunch of different auras out in the field. It's going to be kind of dependent on what we see. Like, I think there's going to be multiple builds here. You know, see more of the Enigma style game plan, a little bit more defensive. But there's also some really powerful attack action cards that we're going to see that they're printing with some new text here. So it's hard to say what a rating for Ziggy is going to be, but they are going to be probably really cool, at least, because it is an illusionist. So hopefully not too good, but we will see. Let's talk about their weapon. Aphrodisias, I think. Aphrodisias? I don't know. Comment below. This is a lightning illusionist weapon orb, two-handed. It says instant, pay 1 resource, tap it, deal 2 arcane damage to target hero. Activate this only if an aura with a holo counter has entered the arena under your control this turn. So, pretty interesting. Illusionist is just straight up dealing arcane damage, but kind of makes sense within the parameters of this set, seeing as it is going to be Wizard and Runeblade as well. So a lot of arcane damage going around, not unlike Rosetta. Is this good? I mean, I guess so. I mean, 1 for 2 arcane damage at instant speed is quite good. You know, you're going to be able to pitch a blue to activate Ziggy and then do this. So I think all that considered, I mean, this is a good card. I mean, obviously only Ziggy can play it. So that being said, it's automatically a fresh. I don't think it's quite fresh to death. It's still going to be the draft weapon for Ziggy. So still really cool. And kind of just the implications are a little scary. I'll just say that. But let's move on to some Majestics. We have Unwinding Finality. Shout out to Pitch Perfect. They spoiled this card. This is a Majestic red Lightning Illusionist attack action card. It costs 0, attacks for 5, and blocks 3. When this hits, draw a card. Okay, this is on its face already, a better snatch. Whenever this fragments, you may put a lightning instant card from your graveyard on top of your deck. What is fragment? Fragment says, whenever a card with 2 or more defense defends this gets -2 attack. So, with that being said, this is very good. This is I think, low fresh to death, maybe just a solid fresh to death. This is got to be an auto include, right? Sure. You could just block with a 3 block and this will totally cover it up, right? And you don't have to worry about the snatch effect. But they get to loop one of their lightning instants from the graveyard and put it on top of their deck, which, based on Ziggy's ability, I think we can all say that's probably pretty important. So this is a scary card. I mean, certainly not end of the world, right? But I think it's doing everything that Ziggy wants to do, and therefore I'm going to give it a fresh to death because the rate's great, and for a 1-card hand, first of all, this is pretty incredible. So, very cool card. Moving on to Flicker Reality. This is a Majestic Lightning Illusionist instant aura. It's a blue and it costs 0. And when this leaves the arena, you may banish another lightning aura permanent you control with no holo counters, then return it to the arena with a holo counter. This also has Ward 1. So, basically, I guess this is a 2-for-1 kind of ability for Ziggy. Is that how I'm reading this? Yes. If Ziggy were to banish another lightning or banish the flicker, you can flicker something else, which is pretty good. I think this is a very solid, I guess, combo piece or just like bread and butter piece in the deck. I would say fresh, because it's not going to do a whole lot on its own other than be an instant and have Ward 1. But I think I can't imagine a world where this is not part of the game plan for Ziggy. So a fresh for Flicker Reality. And one of the coolest arts in the set that we've seen a little bit before, everything kind of started being spoiled, is Blink of an Eye. This is a rare Lightning Illusionist attack action card that costs 2, attacks for 7, and blocks for 3. So great rate. And then it also has Fragment. So whenever this fragments, you may banish a lightning or a permanent you control with no hollow counters, then return it to the arena with a hollow counter. So it's basically a 2 for 7 that if your opponent wants to block, they are going to let you get basically a free Ziggy trigger without the lightning flow. So already it kind of seems to me like this is an automatic 3 of in the deck because it does what Ziggy does, but on a 2 for 7 seems really good to me. I don't know what the balance of these auras and the attack action cards are going to look like, but this seems like an auto include, so it's like a very high fresh for the deck, especially at rare. So keep an eye out on that for Silver Age as well. But what about Fraying Life Force? This is another 2 for 7 that blocks for 3, Lightning Illusionist attack action card. Has Fragment, and it says whenever this fragments, gain a life. I like this a lot too. I mean, on its face, I'm pretty happy to have the 2 for 7 that blocks 3. Fragment, yes, it is a downside, but, well, first of all, I'm glad that we're moving away from Phantasm, but having these little fragment triggers makes this pretty enticing, I would say. Gaining 1 life every time this fragments, I'm not exactly sure. I think this is definitely a shoo-in for the more defensive builds, right? You can kind of play this almost Bullander kind of gameplay, right? You just like send the 7 attacks. And yeah, your opponent can, block with 1 card and bring out the 5, but they're still going to want to block 2 cards if they want to, not take any damage, and then you start gaining life. This is a hard one to rate because this is something that seems minuscule compared to something like Blink of an Eye, but I think this is probably like a low fresh. I'm assuming. I've not seen one deck build of this hero yet, so this is, in my mind, if I were to sit down and build this deck, I think I would end up playing the version of this that wants to play Fraying Life Force, but we'll see what the final list actually look like. Got another rare here. This is Scattering Conflux. This is another 2 for 7, blocks 3, Lightning Illusionist attack action card with Fragment. And whenever this fragments, create an embodiment of Lightning token. Okay, this is more, my speed, because, speed being the actual, keyword here, because to start sending these fragment attacks back to back seems really strong, right? Because eventually they're going to run out of cards to fragment with. And in order to do that, you're going to need to get Go again, Embodiment of Lightnings. That's what they do. I like this. Very high fresh, as a matter of fact. And yeah, this seems good as well. These 2 for 7s, holy smokes. Now, notably, those all came in 1 color at red, but this next one comes in all 3 colors. This is Polaris Pulse Ray. It's a Lightning Illusionist attack action card that comes in all 3 colors. It is a 2 for 7 that blocks 3, again with Fragment. Whenever this fragments, deal 1 arcane damage to the defending hero. So, I mean, I think this is also quite good. This is dual damage. This feels very Runebladey to me, to be honest. But looking at it, I could see the vision. Let's look at the blue. The blue's a 5. So it attacks for 7, 6, and 5. So the blue is kind of interesting. I think the blue's very enticing as well here because you send the 5 for a blue is not bad already, and then your opponent is like, well, I can block it and bring it down to 3, but then I'm going to get pinged anyway. So it almost acts like a 2 for 6, which, Reinhardt would love, but sadly can't play. But I like this at a pretty solid fresh 2, to be honest. I think these, with this Ziggy deck kind of being new, I think these are a lot of the key pieces. And I'd be shocked if we don't see a lot of them seeing play. Fragment seems like a really cool, keyword to be messing around with this deck. Next, we have Corrosive Space Dust, which is a rare that comes in all 3 colors. It's a Lightning Illusionist instant aura. And when this leaves the arena, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. It has Ward X, where X is 4, and I think this comes in all 3 colors. X is 4, 3, and 2 if this has a hollow counter. Otherwise, X is just 1. So this is a payoff for doing the Ziggy thing, right? Bounce this, bring it back with a hollow counter. It's blocking for you. This feels very Enigma-esque. And then on top of that, you're going to basically get 2 arcane damage on this, like, no matter what. Like the first time you bounce it, and then when it leaves at the end when you use the ward effect. So big fan. Also, it's a instant, so you can kind of use it defensively as well if you really need to. X being 1 without the hollow counter is not that great, but I think you can pitch a blue, throw this out on your opponent's turn, activate Ziggy to blink it, and that seems pretty good. So I'm going to give this, I guess this is like in the fresh range as well. This seems like a good card to be playing. It does all the things you want it to do, but it does feel like it will clunk up. So I'm going to say like low fresh. The 1 cost is kind of throwing me off. If this costs 0, I'd be a little bit all over it more, but I could be totally wrong here. And I have been before. Next, we have some commons. This is Cosmic Duality. This is comes in all 3 colors. It's a Lightning Illusionist attack action card that attacks for 7, 6, and 5. Costs 2, blocks 3, and it fragments. But instead of getting a trigger on fragment, this has another ability that says instant, pay 1 and discard this. Deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Create a lightning flow token. Okay, so we know what lightning flows are. They're kind of just a vehicle to do the abilities of these heroes. And you're going to have to play cards like this to create them. Are there better cards to create them in the set? I'm sure there are. But this is also just a 2 for 7. I think maybe the blue is probably where you're at with this card, if I had to guess. But otherwise, I think this is kind of, I think you need to create some lightning flows, and to have something that does something without the lightning flow effect, I think is good enough with that kind of flexibility. So low fresh on Cosmic Duality. I don't think I've given anything less than a fresh yet, but I'm sure we'll get there. Now, next is another common that comes in all 3 colors. This is Ebbing Arkstride. It's a 0 cost Lightning Illusionist attack action card that attacks for 5, 4, and 3, and blocks 3. And whenever this fragments, it gets go again. So this is kind of interesting because, how do you entice your opponent to block this, right? I think you really just want to be playing the red here, if I had to guess. So how do you entice your opponent to block this? Well, 5 damage is a lot. So that is one reason to make them want to block. Now, they just have to throw a 3 block and it's blocked out completely. So in a lot of ways, this will act like a, just name some random ninja card, a 0 for 3 go again. But I don't know. This one's a hard one to rate because ideally you're like, yeah, okay, for 1 card I can go 1 extra chain link wide. I think that's probably good enough. But like, I don't know if it's really as defensive as this deck might want to be. So with that being said, I'm going to give this a low fresh because I understand why this would be good, right? But I just don't know if that ends up being the case with how Ziggy is going to be played. But very cool card. All these fragment cards are really cool. Next we have Pulsing Cardia. This is another same stat line, 0 for 5, blocks 3, lightning illusionist attack action card with fragment. And whenever this fragments, gain 1 resource. Interesting. So, what can we do with that resource? Well, I guess you're likely only ever going to get 1 resource out of this unless you're buffing your fragment attacks. So that is difficult. I'm sure there's going to be ways. We'll probably get to them. So you want this to have go again. So you're going to have to create some embodiments. Golly, pulsing Cardia, I think is probably a stale, and I will lose to this card in a way. I can feel it in my bones, but I think truly it's doing too little to probably be good enough. But I would not be surprised if it shows up in some decks initially, until Ziggy perhaps gets some expansion slots or something like that. So I'm going to say a solid stale for Pulsing Cardia. And feel free to roast me on all these because I have no clue. And then we have Shattering Flow Tide. This one I'm way more interested in. This is the same stat line as the previous 2. 0 for 5, 4, and 3. And blocks for 3. Lightning Illusionist attack action card. It has fragment. And this one says, whenever this fragments, create a lightning flow token. So, as we said before, it seems like these lightning flows are very important. And to be able to, this one's kind of even more interesting than the other ones because, like, you can do both the things. You can just attack and still get one. So, that being said, I think this is a solid fresh, and I expect this to be in the deck. Like, right? I think unless there's like just better ways to create lightning flows, but let's say so far we haven't really seen that many ways. This is the second way we've seen to create lightning flows, especially in the specifically lightning illusionist card pool. I'm gonna say this is a fresh, maybe a low fresh because it's easy to block. Like it's not gonna the break point's not really there with these cards, but that's a pretty good trade-off to get the lightning flow, I think. So, interesting. And what do we have here? We have another aura. This is Auric shards. Comes in all 3 colors. This is another common. It costs 1. It's a lightning illusionist instant aura. When this enters the arena, up to 1 target attack with fragment gets +1. If this has a hollow counter, instead the attack gets +4. And then this has ward 1. Okay, so here's, a pretty good way to buff all these fragment, cards that we were talking about. This is very aggressive. This is not defensive. We saw Corrosive Space Dust where this feels very different. Like this, is the other way to build Ziggy. which I don't know will be the best way to build Ziggy, because I feel like the real potential will be like kind of the crazy stuff you can do with these auras. But that being said, this is not bad. You throw it out the first time, so that's why all those like 2-for-7s are 2-for-7s. You can pitch a blue, attack for 7, and then throw something out like Auric Shards. Gives +1, and then it has Ward 1, but ideally you can, like, even in the same turn, you could probably blink the shards. So I don't know. This is gonna be really good and limited. Maybe Silver Age is more the aggressive build of this deck, but I'm gonna say this is like a high stale, right? That's what I'm thinking right now. And then we have Hollow Shield. And just like, that was the aggressive one. This is the defensive one. Same stat line. Comes in all 3 colors. Cost 1. Lightning Illusionist instant aura. Has Ward X, where X is 4 if this has a hollow counter. Otherwise, it's X, or X is 1. So 4, 3, and 2. And yeah, I mean, this is like the Enigma game plan, right? They, make these cards. They don't block normally, but make them block on the arena or in the arena. So I think like I'm going to have to give this the same as Auric Shards, because I think this is like a high stale. I think it's not doing as much as Corrosive Space Dust, for example. But if you want more of this effect, I think you do want to play this card. So that being said, high stale. And Circular Flow Tide. I think this one only comes in one. I think there's perhaps a cycle. We will see. Circular Flow Tide is a Lightning Illusionist instant aura at common. It costs 1. It's a yellow. When this leaves the arena, create a Lightning Flow token. Has Ward 2, so you can blink it, get a Lightning Flow, and then have it block with Ward to get another Lightning Flow. Seems pretty good. Honestly, like, I think like this seems like a good way to generate Lightning Flows. And then plus, like, even if you don't blink it, you can kind of just throw this out to block. The one resource is, whatever, but you have other things you can do with your resources with Ziggy, because a lot of it's on the instant axis. So I kind of like Circular Flow Tide like a low fresh, I think, right? Like if we really want these lightning flows, you got to make them somehow. And this seems like an okay way to do it. So next we have Elliptical Conflux. This is the same stat line. Yellow 1, cost Ward 2. And it does the same thing, except when this leaves the arena, create an embodiment of lightning token. Neat way to kind of create these tokens that you need in this deck. I do like it, right? Like I want to send multiple fragment attacks in one turn. How do you do that? You need Go Again. So that being said, I think it's still like a low fresh. I like these. I think there's a reason they're printed at one color here, I would assume. But they also have some really cool treatments, it looks like. But you'll see that at your pre-releases. Nebulous Cycle is another in this cycle, except this one creates a Ponder. Same stat line as the previous two. Ponder, while good, is it as good as the other two? I mean, Ponder is a great token. But the immediate effect of the Ponder is less. I feel like this one's probably the least likely to see play. I mean, I could be way off here, but this one feels less impactful for the game plan. So I'm going to just say high stale. It's hard to shake a feather, shake a stick at Ponder tokens, but They will be probably in some versions of this deck, I guess. But we'll see. I'm not sold on like how much you need the ponder tokens. Ponder tokens are good for sure. But like, is this better than getting lightning flows, which are the engine for the deck, or embodiments, which will help you go super wide with these big fragment attacks? I don't know. So we'll see. We have a couple more Lightning Illusionist cards here. First is Crackle from Afar, a Lightning Illusionist instant aura. When this enters the arena, up to one target attack gets +1. This costs 0, by the way. And it has Ward 1. So, I think +1 with Ward, and then you get to do it again to get like a hollow counter on it. It's a blue, costs 0. I think it's golly, this one's hard to actually rate because like, would you play Lunging Press in this deck? I don't know. I mean, when you're playing something like Unwinding Finality, this seems all right. So this could be something that you're going to string a lot of different auras together to do something. So I'm going to say stale just because who knows, maybe the blues, we really need them. Or perhaps this is just more draft chaff, but kind of interesting. Next is Fleeing Starbreeze, which is the same stat line, blue, 0 cost, Lightning Illusionist instant aura. With Ward 1, when this enters the arena, up to one target attack gets go again. I do like this. Throw this in your arsenal. You're just like, oh, boom. There you go. That fragment attack has go again. The CNC has go again. Like there's like good stuff you could do with this. So I like this one a lot more. Just because it feels like, I mean, this is a Snapdragon Scaler on a stick. So I'm gonna say this is a fresh. Actually, if you're playing a lot of fragment attacks, play this. Why not? So, Fleeing Starbreeze, pretty good. And we got one more of this cycle. This is Nourishing Glow, same stat line. Except when this enters the arena, gain 1 life. This one I'm the least interested in. Arguably the best art of the 3. But this one feels, I'm going to say, probably kind of maybe a rotten. I just don't think it's doing enough in this deck. Prove me wrong on this one, I guess. But yeah, I think this was rotten. But we'll move into the regular illusionist stuff here. We have a common equipment, Fingers of Fragmentation, blocks for 0. It's an arm piece. Instant, pay 2 resources, destroy this target attack action card that has fragmented, gets +2. I think we're just going to have better slots for CC. This might be decent in Silver Age, but I think this is like an instant to be able to do a Goliath Gauntlet is pretty good, but you have to pay for it. I'm gonna say rotten. I just don't think this is really for CC anyway. But Fractal Creation, which is a Majestic, might be. This is a blue 3 cost, 6 attack, 3 block illusionist attack action card. It has Fragment, and when this hits, you may create a token copy of an aura you control. This seems pretty good, I would say. I mean, I think even Prism likes this, right? This feels like really good, right? It still requires probably 2 cards to block it, and if you're doing some other stuff that gives a bonus to fragment cards, this is probably quite good. And it's a blue. It's a 6 attack blue. Yeah, I think this is probably. God, this is a really good card, I think. It's like a low fresh to death. This is like a must block in a lot of scenarios. And I mean, definitely in Ziggy. So, good card. Good illusionist card. Who'd have think? Who'd have thought? And then we got Clear Conscious. Clear Conscience. No, that's a joke. This comes in all three colors. It's a rare illusionist attack action card. It costs 3, attacks for 8, 7, and 6, blocks for 3, and has fragment. When this hits a hero, each hero puts a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck and creates a ponder token. I mean, this is another kind of must block, right? You give them 2 cards, it goes down to 4. I mean, I can see it now. The Silver Age pummel Ziggy decks are going to be rampant. Yeah, this is... Well, I guess you could stack it in a way, funny enough. But like, if you blocked with 2 cards, you probably had 2 cards left. I guess even the blue's pretty good. The blue, I guess like the blue is probably where you want to be, right? Because like, this is a scary blue. A blue that is require 2 cards to block is scary. So I'm gonna say, now the question is, if you don't have a card, each hero puts a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck and creates a ponder token. I think you get the ponder no matter what. So funny enough, you could just be like, well, I'm blocking everything. That's why you don't play the red, right? You probably just play the blue. But if you block with everything, you're winning there anyway. And then you could just, this is on a 2-card hand, you could just send this. Like pitch a blue and send this, and then you still get the ponder. If it hits, of course. Yeah, I like this card a lot. I think this is a solid fresh. And a scary one at that. And we got one more illusionist card. I guess they didn't really do a whole lot of illusionist, like regular illusionist cards. But this is this is a rare, I'm sorry. And this is Erode Authority. This comes in all 3 colors. It attacks for 7, 6, and 5. It costs 3, blocks for 3, has Dominate and Fragment. So the red is going to sneak in for 1. I mean, this is a Silver Age card, I have to imagine. I don't think we're going to be seeing this in a lot of CC. There's just a lot of ways to get around Dominate, and eventually, essentially is a 3 for 4 Dominate. Or 3 for 5, I'm sorry, with the 7. So you're pushing 2. Maybe you play a little bit of it. I don't know. I'm gonna say low stale. I will be shocked if this is like the win condition for Ziggy. So yeah, pretty interesting. All right, let's go to Runeblade. Morora, Legacy of Tempest, our new addition in the Lightning Runeblade realm. Notably, we've talked about this on the podcast before, but all of these are lightning talented, not elemental. So they won't be able to play elemental cards. So keep that in mind when you're building these decks. Aurora says, well, that she has 4 intellect and 40 health, and then 4 and 20 in the younger formats. Instant, pay 2 resources and tap. Destroy a lightning flow you control, create an embodiment of lightning token. So once again, you're going to see that all 3 of these heroes are going to want to use lightning flows to do the thing. Now, Aurora creating embodiments of lightning, while good, I think might be not as important right? I think you still need to create some lightning flows because you have the ability to do some big turns, much like you did with the original Aurora. But there will be ways, I think, that you can build this deck where the critical mass of lightning flows won't be that much. But we'll see. We will see. But let's get to what her weapon is. This is Scorpio Comet Tail. Lightning Runeblade weapon sword. Two-handed. Attacks for 1. It says action. Tap it to attack. Activate this only if you control a lightning attack. When this hits a hero, deal 1 arcane damage to them. This is not very good, I would say, compared to our other options. Although I think we're losing Reaping Blade in the banned and suspended announcement. So maybe she still plays it. We don't want probably this Aurora to kind of speed run the LL. So I guess maybe that's for the best. I don't think this is that great because you can't even just block out an attack with this, right? Like, yeah, it costs 0 resources, so I guess like there is that, but it is definitely on a lower power level than other weapons we've seen for Runeblade, but that's okay, I think. But I think overall this is stale because I think you're definitely happy to play it, but compared to other things that Runeblade has played over the years, this is much weaker, I would say. But it's fine. It's got an on hit, right? And that's all right. So moving on, we have Snap Fingers. This is Lightning Runeblade equipment arm piece that blocks 0. Instant, pay 1, destroy this. Target lightning attack action card you control on the active chain link deals 1 arcane damage to defending hero. In CC, not a huge fan. I do like this in Silver Age, but for CC purposes, I'm going to probably give this in like the Rotten range. I think you just play Grasp, I guess, but the implications are pretty good here in terms of what you can do to the attacks that you're activating it for, and we'll see a couple examples of that coming up actually right now. The first one is, and we've talked about this on the show, but Tempestuous Kiss. It's a mouthful. Looks like it's a mouthful in the art too, getting a big old kiss. Surely that can only mean nice things and not damage and discarding cards, but hey, we will see. It is a red Majestic Lightning Runeblade attack action card. Costs 2, attacks for 5, blocks 3. Okay? It says the first time this deals damage to a hero, they discard a card. All right, that's pretty good. But what's the catch? It also has Quick Strike. If this has Go Again, it gets +1. And when this attacks a hero, deal 1 arcane damage to them. So that arcane damage, much like Snap Fingers, which we were just talking about, that attack is doing it. So it would trigger the discard. So if this says Go Again, the quick strike is online. This is a 2 for 6 with 1 arcane, and they have to block it out and pay for the arcane to not discard. So this is a fresh to death. It seems like I think that each of these heroes are going to kind of get a fresh to death Majestic because this is scary, and a lot of people are scared of this card. I think it's going to be an automatic include. I think Enki and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. You just build the deck to fit this because it's that good. So fresh to death on Tempestuous Kiss. Next is Arcanic Reproach, which is a Lightning Runeblade instant aura that blocks for 3. It's blue. It costs 0. It's a Majestic. The first time an opposing hero deals damage to you each turn, you may reveal a lightning card from your hand. If you do, deal 1 arcane damage to them. At the start of your action phase, destroy an aura you control. So You can keep this around for quite some time if you're creating lightning flows or even like embodiments and stuff like that. A rune chant you can pop. And it is kind of interesting. I don't really like, I guess it's fine. This card. I guess it's a solid blue. It blocks 3. It's an instant, so that is kind of cool. You can throw this out there. Is it really what Aurora wants to be doing? I'm not actually sure, but it's very interesting. Arcanic Reproach. I'm gonna say maybe it's like a build around like low fresh. I'm gonna have to see some more cards from this card pool to really make a decision. But Dashing Flashfoot is a rare. It's a yellow, costs 1, attacks for 3, blocks for 3. It's a Lightning Runeblade attack action card. The first time this deals damage to a hero, create an embodiment of lightning token. Pretty good. It also has Quick Strike. If this has Go Again, it gets +1, and when this attacks a hero, deal 1 arcane damage to them. So Quick Strike is always going to be that text, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen. And if this has Go Again, it's coming in for 4 Go Again with arcane damage on top that you can create an embodiment, go even further. Seems pretty important for the deck. Not quite as powerful as the Kiss, but I think that this is a very, very solid fresh and could arguably be a high fresh for the deck. Next, we have Electron Mind Meld. This is another rare yellow, 1 cost, 3 attack, 3 block, Lightning Runeblade attack action card with Quick Strike. Same text as before. The first time this deals damage to a hero, you may put an instant card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. So you got some recursion here. You know, I guess if you're like trying to set up some stuff, which I think, you know, you very well could with a lot of these auras and stuff like that. I think it's fine, right? Like, it's still like a 1 for 4 with a arcane damage on top of it. This one's most likely going to be disrespected the most, I would say. Like, you know, I think they'll just say, well, we'll take the arcane and, you know, you can have your instant back. You do need to really get the full value here. You're going to need an aura or an instant in the bin. But I still like this card. I think this is kind of a bread and butter card, and I'm interested to see what the implications are with this, because cycling stuff can be very powerful, and you can set up some really cool things with this. So I'm going to give it like a low fresh, I think. You know, could scale up. What do we got next? Prophetic Quick Step, not strep throat. Yellow, 1 cost. This is the same stat line as the previous 2. 1 cost, 3 attack, 3 block, Lightning Runeblade attack action card. It has Quick Strike, and the first time this deals damage to a hero, create a ponder token. I'm all in on this one. This is awesome. I mean, you know, as a premeditate lover, this is basically just a premeditate on a stick with an attack attached to it. And it can be hard to block. I think it might be crazy to say, I think this is the best of the 3 we just saw. I think I might be low fresh to death on Prophetic Quick Step. I keep wanting to say strep. It's not strep. But I think I'm going to give it a low fresh to death. Getting a ponder off this, it just feels so good, right? And you can follow this up with even just an attack with your Scorpio or whatever. I like it. Moving on to the cycled rares. So coming in all 3 colors, we have Stinging Sprite. This comes in all 3 colors. It is a 0 cost Lightning Runeblade attack action card that attacks for 3, 2, and 1 and blocks for 2. And when this attacks or defends, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. I think this is fine. I wonder if it's actually a better option than a lot of what Runeblade already has access to. I guess it's decent. forget what the name of the card is from Tales that kind of does something similar, but it might cost resources. This doesn't have go again. It's actually, funny enough, being able to block with it is probably better, if that makes sense. As a trap enjoyer with Riptide. This is tough. I feel like maybe I think the red could see play, but maybe the blue, just like a resource card that you can block with to just deal damage. Kind of good, right? So I'm gonna give it an enthusiastic low fresh for Stinging Sprite. I could be totally underrating it too. Next, we got Mercurial Skies. This comes in all 3 colors. It's a rare. It's a Lightning Runeblade non-attack action that blocks for 2. It costs 0. And the next Runeblade or Lightning attack action card you play this turn gets go again. All right, cool. So we got the Marvrian Sky text right here on that side. And then it says, and the attack gets, the first time this deals damage to a hero, you may destroy a lightning flow you control. If you do, deal 3 arcane damage to them. Okay, so back what I said about Aurora maybe not being so focused on the lightning flow stuff. This is a good reason to be focused on the lightning flow stuff. And also, like, it's worth noting that, like, Stinging Sprite before is totally fine. Like, yeah, red when you're just creating a bunch of embodiments and stuff like that. So kind of interesting. Mercurial Skies, I think. So it does 3 damage, 2 damage, and 1 damage based on the color. I mean, I don't know. I like these almost as much as I like Marvrian Skies, right? And on top of that, a lot of your Lightning Runeblade cards are going to get these pings. This, even with Stinging Sprite, just seems amazing. You just got to create lightning flows, and that's just it. So it's like, I think it's a build around fresh, right? Like, you can't just be like, I'm doing the red line Lightning Runeblade thing. You got to, like, make it work for you with the lightning flows to really make this worth it. Next we have Destructive Fleetfoot. This comes in all 3 colors. This is a common. It is a 0 cost, 3 attack, Lightning Runeblade attack action card. 3, 2, and 1 based on the color. Blocks for 3, has Quick Strike. Oh, this one does not get the additional text of Quick Strike. So if this says go again, it just gets +1. So that's interesting that there's a difference for the rarities. I wonder if that's pretty much it. When this hits a hero, destroy an aura token they control. This is, I guess, a decent sideboard card. Like, send this at Fang, send this at, a lot of different heroes that are creating auras these days, aura tokens anyway. But it's kind of just going to live in the sideboard, I think, if anywhere. So, like, I think maybe like a high stale sideboard, if that makes sense. Path of Same Ends is another common here. This is, I lost my spot. Where is it? Oh, we found it. Path of Same Ends. Lightning Runeblade attack action card that costs 0, attacks for 3, 2, and 1, and it blocks for 2. And when this attacks a hero, deal 1 arcane damage to them. If damage is dealt this way, this gets go again. It also has instant. Pay 1, this gets go again. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like a 1 for 4 go again, essentially. Or it could just be a 0 for 4 go again. This is interesting because you can just, exactly if you're going to need to pay the resource as the attack resolves. Oh boy. You can do this in the resolution step so you can't get trapped by Riptide. Although Riptide would just let it hit so they gets go again so it can do the traps. obviously Riptide's a really big concern for a lot of these decks in the meta. I'm going to give this like at the red, maybe a high stale. I might be overrating this one, but cool card. Next is Rush of Power. So it looks like the commons get 1/2 of the Quick Strike text, which is interesting choice. This is the same stat line, 0 for 3, 2, and 1, that blocks for 3, has Quick Strike, but the common version, if this says go again, it gets +1. And when this hits a hero, deal 1 arcane damage to them. Yeah, I think that this is, if it has go again, 0 for 4 with an on hit, pretty good. I could see this coming together. I see the red being played. I don't really see any of the other colors probably, but if you're creating a bunch of embodiments, this does seem quite good, and just like raw numbers on Rush of Power. So I'm going to say low fresh for Rush of Power. Next we got Singeing Flowstride. This is it has the other half of the Quick Strike text. Okay, so this is a 1 for 4 common. Attacks for 4, 3, and 2, and it blocks for 3. Lightning Runeblade attack action card. And it has the other half of the Quick Strike text. If this has go again, it gets, when this attacks a hero, deal 1 arcane damage to them. The first time this deals damage to a hero, create a Lightning Flow token. This could be pretty important. A 4 attack that sometimes will have an extra damage being thrown at them to kind of fuel your deck. Seems okay. I mean, I think this is probably fine, if I had to guess. I don't think you can do a red line thing with this deck per se, but maybe you can, maybe you can't. I think you're going to need to play blues, so if that's a thing, this makes sense to kind of, you'll be able to even just convert that Lightning Flow right away into a embodiment with the blue that you spent to attack with Singeing Flowstride. So I'm going to say like a high stale. It could very well be a really important card for this deck, but we'll see. Next, we got Voltbound Duality. This is another common. This is a 0 for 4 that blocks for 3. It attacks for 4, 3, and 2. And this has a instant, pay 1, discard this, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero, create a Lightning Flow token. Yeah, this is, I think you probably play the red and the blue here, if I had to guess. This is quite good. And this is like a very, very solid fresh. I mean, I think you kind of want to be playing this because at worst is a 0 for 4, right? Or a blue block 3. And at best, you're going to be able to either, attack with it with go again, or just like convert it into damage and, create some lightning flows, which will be pretty important, it seems like. But that's a good card. Very fresh. Next, we got Electron Jolt Step. It's an interesting one. This is a Lightning Runeblade non-attack action that comes in all 3 colors. It's a common. And it blocks for 3. And your next Runeblade, or cost 1, I should say. Your next Runeblade or Lightning attack this turn gets +3, 2, or 1. Create a Lightning Flow token and go again. So I think this is pretty good as well. This is like straight up Lightning Flow creation with bonuses. So that being said, I think that this is at least at the red, right? Maybe even just the blue. You just like, whatever. I'll take the extra. It's a blue block 3. I'll give a nice little +1. Get the Lightning Flow. We're cooking, right? And then the 2 resources left over from when you paid for this, you can convert that Lightning Flow right away if you want into an embodiment. So it's probably like a low fresh. I don't know if this is as exciting as probably the deck wants to be, but I think it's doing a lot of what the deck wants it to do. You know, I don't know if it necessarily wants to go tall like this, but creating lightning flow is important, as we said. And then finally in the Lightning Runeblade section here, we have Quick Succession. This is another common that comes in all 3 colors. It costs 0. It's a Lightning Runeblade non-attack action that blocks for 2. The next Runeblade or Lightning attack action card you play this turn gets go again. Your next 3 attacks this turn get +1 while they have go again. This is, I think, a little too... I mean, like, if you can pull it off, right? Like, the next 2 attacks get... So it's next 3, next 2, next 1, right? Based on the color. I guess maybe the blue, just because you know it's going to give the +1 and go again. But it blocks for 2. I'm not really a fan of this card. Maybe like a low stale, to be honest. At the blue, maybe. Like, sure, if you get the next 3 attack thing off, I sure, it feels pretty good. But other than that, it seems narrow. But we got a legendary. Is this our first legendary? It might be. Holy smokes. Gauntlet of Sword and Sorcery. This is a Runeblade equipment arm piece, legendary, blocks for 0. It has Arcane Barrier 1. It has action, pay 2 and tap this and your hero. The next attack action card you play this turn gets, when this attacks, deal 1 arcane damage to any opposing target. If damage is dealt this way, this gets +1. Go again. Yeah, repeatable buffs with, you know, for things that have on hits, any target, so you can hit allies. Probably going to be a pretty important piece. And yeah, I think it's not the most flashy legendary, but I think that it's arguably going to be, you know, maybe like a sideboard low fresh to death. There's too much good going on with it to kind of really, you know, say this is not the thing. You know, obviously it's a contested spot with Grasp and Quill Hand, but I still think it's good. Next we have Caress of the Reaper. This is a majestic Runeblade attack action card that's a red that costs 1, attacks for 5, and blocks 3. When this deals damage to a hero, destroy target aura they control. Like I said, this comes up more than you'd think, but still kind of narrow. Probably good that this is a little narrow, but I think like still like a sideboard fresh for Runeblade decks. You know, you can blow up a lot of important stuff, but there's also like good generic aura hate already. But this is at least like it could be any aura, so it doesn't even have to be a token. So I think sideboard like low fresh here. Arcanic Cunning is a rare, comes in all 3 colors. This is a Runeblade attack action card that says, well, costs 0 and attacks for 4, 3, and 2, and it blocks for 3. While this is attacking, defending, or on the stack, if you would be dealt arcane damage, prevent 1 of that damage. I think this is kind of narrow. This is probably good and limited, but to me, it's just, yeah, whatever. The stats are fine, but like I don't know how often this is going to come up. Maybe I'm missing something, but I think this is more like great for this limited format, but kind of for CC rotten, I would say. Next, we got Leech Memory. I think we have a little bit of a, what do you call it? A cycle here. Kind of like we did with the Illusionist, but this is a rare red 1 cost Runeblade non-attack action that blocks for 3. The next attack action card you play this turn gets +3, and whenever this deals damage to a hero, you may put an attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. Yeah, I mean, I think this is okay, right? cycle good cards back into your deck. It's fine. I don't really know if it's good enough. This could be something that's good in future sets, as we know, or as probably most of us know. The next set is Monarch 3, so there'll definitely be some Runeblade stuff happening there. And, cycling attacks could be good. But, I don't know. Was it Give and Take? Doesn't really see that much play, so I don't really see this seeing that much play. So maybe like Stale. So we'll see. Leech Renown is the next one that says, next attack action, same stats. Next attack action card you play this turn gets +3. And whenever this deals damage to a hero, destroy an aura token they control. I think this is also a little narrow. This feels more for limited. I'm going to probably say like maybe low Stale, but I still think we have better options for aura token destruction at least. So that's where Leech Renown is going to be. And then finally, for the Runeblade stuff, Leech Vitality, which is same stat line. The next attack action card you play this turn gets +3, and whenever this deals damage to a hero, gain 1 life. Sure. I mean, notably, if you throw these on things that are also dealing 1 arcane, they're going to get multiple triggers. But this feels just like a limited, really good and limited probably, but feels like a limited piece if I had to guess. So probably in the rotten range, maybe low Stale. It is a buff. It is a non-attack action, but Viscerai is not legal right now, so it's not like there is a ton that can change there. Although Silver Age is still a format, so it definitely could see a splash there. So that means it's time for Ocilio, who's back again. Forked Continuum. I think Continuum? I think it's Continuum. This is a Lightning Wizard hero. 4 intellect, 38 health, and then the young hero is 19. That would make sense. That's half of 38. What does Ocilio do this time? Because Ocilio version 1 was obviously too good at 36 life. So let's add 2 health. What does it do? Instant, pay 1 resource, tap Ocilio, and destroy a lightning flow you control. Boom. Discard a card and create a ponder token. If an instant is discarded this way, you may play it this turn. So, going to be some shenanigans here, clearly. And, creating ponders. I have a feeling there's going to be a way to use extra ponders too. So, discarding the instant, obviously a lot of value there. We know that Ocilio has a nice array of sigils from Rosetta that he has access to. So, going to be interesting to see how good this Ocilio is. Because Volzar, the old one, is not going to be legal. So we're going to have a new one. Volzar Meteor Storm. This is the Lightning Wizard weapon staff, 2-handed, instant, tap it, amp 1. Activate this only if an instant card has been put into your graveyard this turn. So much like Scorpio, noticeably weaker than OG Volzar. However, I don't know, is this going to be the de facto weapon? I think Waning Moon might end up being the de facto weapon. This Ocilio seems a little bit more wizardy than OG Ocilio. I don't know if we're going to be doing the Gone with a Flash combo, but should be interesting. It wants you to do the instance, which is kind of hard. I mean, not hard to do, but it becomes a little risky to run a lot of them, I would say. So let's compare it to Waning Moon, because I feel like that might be just better for this deck. I think this is probably in the stale range, but it could just be the weapon you play. I'm not sure. Or maybe they'll wait a little bit and give us back the other Volzar. So we'll see. Next is Constella Waves, which is a Lightning Wizard equipment arm piece. Blocks for 0. Instant. Tap your hero. Destroy this amp 1. This is not going to be better than... Golly, I forget the name of the one that buffs or amps for the amount of sigils that have left the arena that turn. Or entered the graveyard. I forget. But, no, it's left because you can bounce them. Yeah, this is mostly a draft item here. So I think relatively rotten. Maybe Silver Age could be good enough, but I'm not really seeing it. Next we have Astral Bridge, which is a Lightning Wizard instant, majestic. It's red. It costs 0, and it doesn't block. Put the top card of your deck into your graveyard. If it's an instant, you may play it this turn. And then it has Starfall. If an instant has been put into your graveyard this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So, based on what we know about Acilio's hero ability, I think that this is clearly a really good piece into that. I don't know how many of these things you can really string together, but it could be pretty cool. I am so interested to see what the actual builds are. I think that basically this says draw a card and deal 1 damage, right? I feel like if you whiff on it, it's a nothing, right? So I guess, I mean, like, it's not a nothing because you could definitely have put an instant into your graveyard prior. But I think that this is hard to rate. I'm going to give it a fresh. I don't know what this deck's going to look like, to be honest. So we're going to see. Echo Flash is next, another majestic. This is a Lightning Wizard instant. Yellow, costs 1. Deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. When this is put into your graveyard from anywhere, your hero deals 1 arcane damage to target hero. So if you just play it out, it's going to deal 1 and 1. And then if you discard it to get your Ponder, it's going to deal 1. Or if you Astral Bridge it, etc., you can do a lot of pings. So I wonder, is there going to be kind of like a go wide Acilio where it's just ping, 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 ping? Or, you know, as opposed to like maybe a go tall Acilio. So really interesting. Don't know exactly how to rate this one either. Folks, we're going to just give it a fresh. We're going to optimistically give it a fresh. It's a majestic. It surely has to be kind of good, right? So we'll see. Next we have Arc Ramp, which is a Lightning Wizard action, non-attack action. Blocks for 2, costs 0, comes in all 3 colors. And it says amp 3, 2, and 1 based on the color. And you may destroy a lightning float you control. If you do, this gets go again. So destroy lightning flow for amp 3 with go again, I guess is not terrible, right? I mean, is it good though? I'm not exactly sure for what this deck wants to do. I guess you don't need to. You could still like get an instant ping. So you arc ramp and then you play out something like Astral Bridge or something like that. I think this is stale. I don't know. This should like a card like this would be shocking to me. Pun intended. If it's really that good. I'm curious. I'm definitely curious. Next we got Core Reaction, which is a Lightning Wizard instant aura. Comes in all 3 colors, and it costs 2. And it says at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this and deal 4, 3, or 2 damage to any target. Any target's pretty good. A instant that you can play off of Acilio's ability seems good. I think probably the red is really the one that you're going to want to be playing here. Maybe I think it's only a low fresh. It takes some setup. Really interesting card. I do like the idea of like setting up a bunch of these, right? And that, you know, you can say I'm blocking out, and then a bunch of these are going to pop, and you're going to have to deal with a ton of damage. And I just got like a lot of value out of my hand. So I think I like this at like a low fresh core reaction. So that's where I'm at with that. Flash Bolt is a Lightning Wizard instant. Costs 2. Comes in all 3 colors. And it says, does not block, by the way. Deal 3 arcane damage to target hero. And then 2 or 1 based on the color. Instant speed, automatically, I am interested in. This feels pretty good to be able to discard, right? Because the Cilio ability costs 1. You can pitch the blue, discard the Flash Bolt, send it, still get your Ponder. I like this. I think this is probably a solid fresh. As a non-wizard player, I think this is good. So, I like Flash Bolt. Next is Comet Collision, which comes in all 3 colors. It's a 0-costed Lightning Wizard non-attack action that blocks for 3. It says, deal 3 arcane damage to any target, and then it's deal 2 or 1. So, you know, classic stats here. And then also has Starfall. If an instant card has been put into your graveyard this turn, instead deal 4 arcane damage, 3 or 2. So, a 0 for 4 arcane, I'm into. Blocks for 3. I don't know if the blue's really that good, but I do like this a little bit. I still think maybe low fresh. You know, it's not, there's no like on hit or anything like that. So this could be more on the go tall side of things. But just numbers wise, I do like it. And then we have Onion Surge, Onion Surge, Enya. Shout out Enya. This comes in all 3 colors. 0 cost. Lightning Wizard non-attack actions blocks for 3. Deals 3, 2, or 1. If this deals damage, you may tap your hero. If you do, create a Lightning Flow token. This is a Lightning Flow generator, which seems like it will be important for certain builds. And I would say this one's a pretty decent one, right? It's going to take a whole card and Arcane Barrier, right? To prevent it. And then obviously if you are amping, this is difficult. I think you can play the red, maybe the blue as well, right? You know, like just sneak in some damage, and like it's annoying to have to just deal with 1 arcane sometimes, giving a whole card so they don't get the lightning flow. They might just let you have it. So that being said, I think this is probably a fresh. Kind of like a nice bread and butter card for the deck. And then we have Lightning Overload, which is a common that comes in all 3 colors. Costs 1, blocks for 3. It's a Lightning Wizard non-attack action. Deals 4 arcane damage to any target, and then 3 or 2. And then it has Starfall. If an instant card has been put into your graveyard this turn, create a Lightning Flow token. So this one's interesting because it doesn't need to hit, and all you had to do was activate the Starfall, which you should be able to do in this deck pretty easily. I think that I like the red of this specifically, but I guess the blue might be all right too, but like specifically the red I'm a fan of, and I could see this being in the deck, maybe like a fresh for Lightning Overload. But what about Meteoric Impact? This is a Lightning Wizard non-attack action at common. It costs 1 and blocks for 3, and it comes in all 3 colors. And it says deal 3, 2, or 1 arcane damage to any target based on the color. And it has Starfall. If an instant has been put into your graveyard this turn, instead deal 5, 4, or 3. I believe. I hope I'm getting that right on that. A 1 for 5 is pretty good, right? Like Voltic Bolt's 2 for 5. So if this is reliably on, I think that this is a really good rate. But that alone has to get a fresh, right? And then even if it's not on, it's just a 1 for 3, which is not that good. But like a 1 for 5, that's a big chunk of arcane damage. Can't prevent all of that most of the time. So I think this is a very solid fresh as well. Funny enough, feeling better about the commons in the Cilium, which is probably bad news for Silver Age. Nebula Duality is a Lightning Wizard non-attack action. It comes in all 3 colors. It's a common. It costs 0, blocks for 3, deals 3, 2, or 1. And then it has instant, pay 1, discard this, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero, create a lightning flow token. You got to slam this into the deck, probably the red and the blue. I could see some decks even wanting all 3 colors, depending on how hungry you are for lightning flows. This is like automatic fresh, I feel like. It's flexible. So, got to give it to Nebula Duality. It has duality. You can do 2 different things with it. How cool is that? How cool is Tap Lessons Past? Certainly a tapping of your hero will happen on this card, huh? This is a Lightning Wizard non-attack action. A common, blocks for 3, comes in all 3 colors, and it costs 1, and it deals 4, 3, or 2 arcane damage to any target. If this deals damage, you may tap your hero. If you do, put an instant card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. I don't know how important this will be. This is a lot like some of the other cards we saw earlier for the other 2 heroes. There's a lot of, not copy and paste, but similar things going on effect-wise with all 3 of these heroes. I don't know if that's for limited purposes, but I think this is probably like a stale, if I had to guess, to be honest. 1 for 4 is on rate. I think you'll probably have better options with the Cilium. Next is Cosmic Suture, I think, which is a Lightning Wizard instant at common. It comes in all 3 colors, and it costs 2. And it says, prevent the next 4 damage will be dealt to you this turn. Starfall. If an instant card has been put into your graveyard this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. I think this is probably for the limited format. If I had to guess, I like it out of the arsenal, perhaps. I don't know if there's part of me just would rather play Oasis Respite. So I think it maybe like a low stale. I could be wrong, but I don't know. This seems very important for this limited format, but not so much for CC. Moving on to Constella Contemplation, which is a yellow 0-cost Lightning Wizard instant at common. It says create a ponder token. It has Starfall, and if an instant has been put into your graveyard this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. If you want to gobble up extra ponders, which I think we'll be able to do, we'll get to that soon, I would say that this is fine. I don't know if it's that good. I mean, golly, how many instants can you play in this deck, right? Without you just getting run over by like a Syndra. It's hard to say. I'm going to give this a stale, which is a shame because I love the art in this one. But I would love to be proven wrong on this card as well. Next is Constella Flow Slide, which is a yellow 0-cost Lightning Wizard instant. Create a Lightning Flow token. Awesome. Starfall. If an instant card has been put into your graveyard this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. This one I'm more into. Like I said, if we want to be making lightning flows, you got to have ways to do it. So this one seems pretty efficient. You can get that little bonus on the Starfall. Very cool. going to give this a low fresh because I don't know how impactful it will be, but I think it's worth. I mean, you could discard this to Acilio and play it, which is good. So very cool. And then finally, Constella Uplift for the Lightning Wizard cards, which is a yellow 0-cost Lightning Wizard instant common that says untap a staff you control if an instant card has been put into your graveyard this turn. Deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So really, it's only for the new Volzar, which I guess is okay. I'm gonna say this is probably a rotten. Maybe getting some extra juice out of it is decent, but I'm having trouble seeing it, to be honest. So, that being said, probably really gonna do some really cool stuff in limited. Moving on to the actual wizard cards, though, we have Tome of Quandaries, which is a majestic wizard instant that blocks for 2. It's a blue, costs 0, and it creates 2 ponder tokens. Surely there's going to be a card that we can cash in some ponder tokens for, right, folks? We will see sooner rather than later. It's a legendary. This is a pretty good card, I think, right? And I think in conjunction with the card that's coming up, you'll see this is probably a pretty high fresh. It's a blue. 2 ponders, even if you have to not cash any of them in, gives you choice over cards to throw into your arsenal. So the downside is not that bad. And you could discard this as well to Acilio, which is neat to play it. Then you got a bunch of ponder tokens. Next we have Aether Sling, which is a rare that comes in all 3 colors. No, it doesn't. It only comes in 1 color, actually. I lied. This is a wizard non-attack action at rare that blocks for 2, costs 1. This is a red. Deal 4 arcane damage to any target. If this deals damage, you may tap your hero. If you do, this gets go again. So this I like a lot, especially maybe out of the sideboard for Gravy Bones or anything that has additional targets, because, well, it's pretty easy to just have it hit. And then on top of that, I feel like you can kind of sneak in some extra action points with this card. I would say this is probably, I think, just a fresh. Might be a sideboard fresh to death. Like coming in out of the sideboard could be so key. But as a card, I think it is fresh in general. And next we have Nucleus Aetherbolt. Sounds like a Harry Potter character. Nucleus Aetherbolt. I mean, this is a wizard card, so how about that? A red 0-cost wizard non-attack action that blocks 2. Deal 3 damage to any target. If this deals damage, you may tap your hero. If you do, your hero deals 1 arcane damage to any target. So this is also good for clearing allies, I think. That's pretty cool. I don't know. It could actually be decent into Gravy as well. The 1 arcane is probably not the best into Gravy, but there's still some allies you can hit with that. So this is a sideboard low fresh, I think. I still like Aether Sling a lot better, but this is pretty neat. I kind of like this cycle because there's another one. Turn to Mindfire. This is another red, rare, wizard non-attack action that blocks for 2. This one's the one that costs 2. Deal 5 arcane damage to any target. If this deals damage, you may tap your hero. If you do, create a ponder token. I mean, this is just... I mean, it's a little bit different than Voltic Bolt, right? Voltic Bolt blocks for 1 more, but it doesn't have the additional text to be able to essentially draw a card. So I think this card's very good. It's gonna do some numbers in Sage for sure. I'm gonna give this a fresh. I think this is good enough to be able to create ponders, and we're gonna see that there's a good way to deal with them, use them. So turn to Mindfire, very cool. And then finally for the wizard actual stuff, Haven Veil. This is a wizard instant aura. It comes in all 3 colors. This is at rare. It costs 0. And when this enters the arena, this is a wizard instant aura. I don't know if I said that. When this enters the arena, prevent the next 3 arcane damage that will be dealt to you this turn. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. It prevents 2 and 1 for the other colors. This is for, I think, this limited format. So this is kind of a rotten, maybe sideboard low stale, but it's just kind of for a wizard battle, really. So, like, I guess if that's like really something that's kind of going on, 0 for that is not bad. I wish this was just generic, to be honest, but I think it's a rotten, maybe sideboard stale. And then the card that we were just talking about, or alluding to, Third Eye of the Sphinx, Illusionist Wizard equipment headpiece at legendary, blocks for 1, has Blade Break and Spell Void 1. Instant, pay 1 and tap it, destroy a ponder token you control, draw a card. So as you can see with all the ponder creation that we were seeing previously, pretty good. This is an awesome card, and it's a little scary that Illusionist gets it, but I guess probably also scary that Wizard gets it. How about Omens of the Third Age? The 3 scariest classes in the game at most points in Flesh and Blood's history, all in one set. How about that? So, Third Eye of the Sphinx is, I think, fresh to death. If you're doing the ponder thing, I mean, you just play it, right? Like this, and it's going to be really good to draw extra cards like earlier. It's instant, so you can do whatever you want with those cards when you draw them, as long as you have the action points. So that is really, really cool. All right, now let's go into the lightning cards. Surely we have a legendary. It is Plutonic Starplate, lightning equipment chess piece that blocks for 0, as Arcane Barrier 1, and the first time you play a lightning card during each of your opponent's turn, gain 1 resource. Each of your opponent's turns. I guess that's for UPF, I guess. But it could have implications outside of that. Who knows? So, AB1, take that. First time you play a lightning card during each of your opponent's turns, gain 1 resource. I mean, there's a lot of use cases here. I feel like Acilio probably will like this a little bit more. Maybe Ziggy's into it. I don't know if Aurora's on the Plutonic Starplate per se. It seems good. I'd have to see this in practice, but maybe it's like a fresh. I don't think it's the best legendary in the set, but it's certainly cool. Like the possibilities to kind of get the extra resource and what you can do with it. I think Acilio probably does the coolest stuff with it, but I think we'll see. I think we will see. Plutonic Starplate, pretty cool card. What's next? Constella Tiara, which is lightning equipment headpiece at common, blocks for 0, and it has instant, pay 2, destroy this, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to you this turn. If you prevent damage this way, create a ponder token. This is rotten for Classic Constructed. This is a limited card only, but that is okay. I don't even know if this is really what we're going to be doing in Sage either, but c'est la vie. Starflow Robes, likely we'll see. Probably also going to be a limited only rotten card, but this is a lightning equipment chess piece that blocks for 0 at common. Instant, pay 2. Destroy this. Prevent the next 1 damage that be dealt to you this turn. If you prevent damage this way, create a lightning flow token. Same rating as the previous card, as in this is a limited card and probably just rotten. Perhaps there's a world where you want to play this in Silver Age just to get the lightning flow, but it's still 2 resources, a little tough to prevent 1. And then Laced Lightning, same text for the legs, but now if you prevent the damage, it'll be Embodiment of Lightning token, which is pretty decent, but I don't know. I think like you'd rather play Snapdragon Scalers, so this is probably rotten for CC, unfortunately, but that is okay. Make sure you draft them. Your pre-release this weekend. Astral Strike. Looks like our E-Strike friend is back here. This is a Majestic Lightning attack action card that costs 1. It's a red and attacks for 5, blocks 3. And when this attacks, if you destroy a lightning flow this turn, choose 1. Draw a card. This gets +2. This gets go again. Notably, this does not destroy the lightning flow on its own, but all of the heroes have the ability to destroy a lightning flow token. So I see this probably more in Ziggy and Aurora than Acilio. But that being said, a 1 for 7 is pretty good. A 1 for 5 draw card is pretty good. A 1 for 5 go again is pretty good. So as an E-Strike lover, I'm going to love this card. I'm not going to say it's fresh to death, but it's certainly high fresh in my mind. High fresh in my mind. But next we have, I think, probably the most important card of this set for these heroes, ideally. This is Flow State Embodiment. Red, 0 cost, 4 attack, 3 block, lightning attack action card. Whenever you play an instant card, this chain link, create an embodiment of lightning or lightning flow token. So this can generate both. Obviously, that's pretty good, but a great setup card. Throw this out there, couple sigils with it, etc. You are cooking. You got your lightning flows for the next couple turns. So I think this is a fresh to death. I think all 3 heroes kind of want it, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least, because I think this card is going to be sought after. But fresh to death in my mind, this card. And then we have Static Shelter, which is a Majestic yellow lightning defense reaction that blocks 3. It costs 0, and when this defends, you may pay 1 if you do create a lightning flow token. This is another really good card for all 3 of these heroes, I bet. Just a decent card that you can get a lightning flow off of. Pretty important. I think this is probably high fresh because, sometimes some heroes won't really attack you as much, but I think it's probably bordering on fresh to death anyway. Got to make those lightning flows. Let's see. What is next? Are we still in the Majestics? No, we're into the rares. Beckoning Brilliance. This is a lightning attack action card at red. It's a rare. Costs 0, attacks for 4 and blocks 2. And when this attacks, the next instant card you play this chain link costs 1 less to play. Golly, I guess there's some uses here. Are we thinking more perhaps in Ziggy this could be better? Although there were some cool cards with Acilio that this could work with, but I don't know, the block 2, maybe it's okay, right? You're getting a nice discount on something, but I am thinking this is probably in the stale range. It's just, I think there's better stuff to be playing at that slot. If it really ends up being that good, then I think these heroes are probably going in a different direction than I'm seeing. But it's not bad. It's just, in general, I think we want to play stuff that costs less anyway. So we'll see. I'm going to say stale. Next, we have Flow Shard Elemental. This is a red, 0 cost, 4 attack, 2 block, lightning attack action card. At rare, when this attacks, you may discard an instant card. If you do, create a lightning flow token, and this gets go again. Now, this is something I'm more into. This feels like a classic lightning card in a lot of ways. It turns on Starfall. It is just a way to create lightning flow tokens. I think all 3 heroes probably wouldn't mind playing this. I'm going to say this is probably a solid fresh Flow Shard Elemental. And yeah, I don't know. This one's pretty good. Getting a lightning flow token and this getting go again for just discarding an instant feels pretty decent. So, I mean, we were playing instants to make that 1 card in Aurora get go again before, and you get to get the extra little bonus of a lightning flow with this. I'm a fan. Next card is Lightning Form, which is a reprint, so we won't really be talking about it, but it's as good as it was and will continue to be. Visionary of Orbits is a lightning attack action card at rare. It costs 3 and attacks for 7 and blocks 2. And it says when this hits, you may put an instant card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. So more recursion. I think they're really pushing the recursion in this. I wonder if I'm missing something big here. Combo finishes, setup finishes, etc. But I feel like more in young hero formats, specifically limited, this is just pretty good. And I feel like in this format, a 3 for 7 is pretty good. That being said, it's a 3 for 7 with a somewhat relevant on hit. So I still think it's like a low stale, but it's pretty interesting. Flowing Stormstrike is a rare lightning attack action card that is red and costs 0 and attacks for 4 and blocks 2. And it says twice per turn instant, pay 1. This gets +1. And when this hits, create a lightning flow token. More lightning flow generation is pretty good. And yeah, 0 for 4. Arguably, this will have go again some parts of the time with your embodiments. So you can kind of threaten the on hit. And then if they overblock, you're just like, well, I won't be paying into it. And, kind of the way Puffin kind of gets around a lot of this feels like a Puffin card in a lot of ways. So I think this is a fresh. I would play this, right? If I want more lightning flows, this is I feel like a pretty serviceable way to get them. Block 2 sucks, but what are you going to do? Meteoric Rise is the next. Actually, it looks like this is a cycle. So this one costs 1. It's the same as the previous card, Flowing Stormstrike. So this is 1 for 5, blocks 2, and twice per turn instant. You can pay to give it +1, and when this hits, create a lightning flow token. I still like the 0 cost more, but this also offers a breakpoint. So looking at this like a 3 for 7. Pretty decent. Go tall. I like this too. This is probably in the fresh range. And then finally you have Voltic Impact, which is the same thing except costs 2 and attacks for 6. So this can get buffed up to 8. Not as intriguing, I don't think, to me. But 2 for 6 is fine. It's a popper, so there's that. And yeah, I think this is probably the lowest I'm on, but that means it's like probably a high stale. The other two are in the fresh range. I like it. And then we have Rift Breaker. This comes in all 3 colors. This is a rare lightning attack action card that costs 2, attacks for 6, 5, and 4, and blocks 2. And when this hits a hero, destroy a lightning flow token they control. All right, very narrow. I'm going to just give this a Rodden. I don't think even if there's a lot of lightning flows going around in the meta, I still don't think this is worth the slot. But somebody will show up with it and do well with the deck, and they had like a Rift Breaker. It is at the red, it is a popper, so there is that. But we have no shortage of poppers these days. Next, we have Flow Through, which is a lightning instant at rare. It is a blue, 0 cost, and it says target lightning attack gets +1, and when this hits, create a lightning flow token. I like this in Ziggy, and I like this in Aurora, but not as much. I don't know how much attacking Acilio is going to be doing, so I don't know if this is really that good. I mean, this is lunging press with no block. I like it. I mean, you do this on what was the card we just talked about? The flow state embodiment, and you're cooking. And if that hits, 2 lightning flows. So this is like probably like in the stale range, but I could see it really doing some serious work in these decks. Next, we have Livewire Press. Surely that means Lexi's coming back. This is a 1 cost red lightning instant at rare that says target lightning attack action card gets, when this hits a hero, deal 4 damage to them. Yeah, I think this card's cool. I think it's good, right? This is a very aggressive card, clearly. It's a little boom grenade on a boom grenade stick thing. I don't know. And yeah, I mean, like looking at some of the lightning cards from Rosetta, I mean, like I'm blanking on the name. The 0 for 4 when you play an instant gets go again. Yeah, throw this on there. You're cooking. You're really cooking. It's dangerous to let some of these attacks hit in the more aggressive builds, because I have a feeling they're going to be playing Livewire Press. So that means it's a fresh. Most definitely. Next we have Astral Assault, which comes in all 3 colors. This is a common. This is a lightning attack action card. It costs 2 and attacks for 5, 4, and 3, and it blocks for 2. When this attacks, you may destroy a lightning flow you control. If you do, this gets +2. This is draft filler. It's just raw numbers. It's eating up your lightning flows. I don't really like this. This is rotten in Classic Constructed to me. Electrolyze, though, could be all right. This is a lightning attack action card that comes in all 3 colors at common. It costs 1 and it attacks for 4, 3, and 2, and it has go again, and it blocks for 0. So not the best. If you need a 1 for 4 go again, sure. This is probably more in the stale range. I think you'd rather be having just a better card in this slot for the most part. So that being said, if you're playing it, it's probably regrettably, so it's probably like a low stale, mid stale. I think a lot of these lightning cards are gonna end up being in this range, kind of filling out the draft format. We got Flittering Spike here, which is a common lightning attack action card that comes in all 3 colors. It costs 1 and attacks for 4, 3, and 2, and it blocks for 3. And if you've played a instant card, this chain link, this gets +2. And when this hits, create a lightning flow token. Not the most efficient way to be getting these lightning flows. That being said, it says when this hits, create a lightning flow token with some other text. So I have to give it at least a stale. I don't think this is going to be one that you're going to be playing, but I would watch out for it. I mean, like, if you look at the blue, right? The blue probably is better. Blocks 3. If you play the instant, it gets the breakpoint, and you still get the lightning flow token. So, yeah. That's what I would say. If anything, the blue flittering spike is going to see play. And where are we? Oh, we're here. Glide Through Starlight. This is a lightning attack action card at common. Comes in all 3 colors. It costs 1 and attacks for 5, 4, and 3, and it blocks for 2. An instant, you can pay 1 and discard it to prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to you this turn. If you prevent a damage this way, create a lightning flow token. Not as efficient. It's kind of interesting. Like, into like Syndra, I kind of like this. But also, you're giving up a card. 2 cards to basically prevent like Afflict Knives. So maybe it's just not that good. I think that it's probably low stale. It's pretty easy to get lightning flows off of it, but I am not all about it. So low stale for Glide Through Starlight. Like, the stats are fine, but it's just not doing enough, I think. It's a little too inefficient. Heaven's Claw's back in all 3 colors. That is a reprint. It's as good as it was. Good as it always will be. Stellar Glide, I thought it was Guide, is a lightning attack action card at common that comes in all 3 colors. It costs 2 and attacks for 5, 4, and 3. And it blocks for 2. When this attacks, you may destroy a lightning flow you control. If you do, this gets go again. 2 for 5, go again. Give up one of your lightning flows, only blocks 2. Not really into this. This is kind of in a very low stale, if not high rotten territory. But I feel like it's probably going to be good and limited. Get those reds. But not super stoked on Stellar Glide. Super stoked on, at least the art of Volatile Fluxer. Let's see if the actual card is good. A Meep, I think, is getting some really intense power through a lightning Meep in the sky. I thought I'd seen it all, folks. This is a lightning attack action card that comes in all 3 colors. It costs 0 and attacks for 0. I think across all 3 colors, right? Yep. And blocks for 3. And if you've played an instant card this chain link, this gets +3, +2, or +1. And when this hits, create a lightning flow token. And it has go again. This is what I'm talking about. I like this quite a bit. At the red specifically. But the blue is probably not that bad either. That being said, I think probably a fresh. I think this is one of the better on hits that you can do. It blocks for 3. And you already care about the instance. So, and you get to create a lightning flow on hit. So, I like this card. I have to imagine this is probably a pretty intriguing one for the more go wide, red line, low to the ground versions of these decks. Next, we got Flittering Force Field, which is a lightning defense reaction at common. It comes in all 3 colors. It blocks for let me see. Let me just double check here. It blocks for 3, 2, and 1, as they usually do. It costs 0. And while this is defending, if you've played an instant card this chain link, this gets +1. I've heard a lot of talk. This is pretty good in more defensive builds of like Ziggy. Probably can be pretty good in Acilio as well. This is a nice 0 for 4 D-react for, a lot of the time, which is cool. I think this is probably like a fresh, a nice little buffer for these decks. If they don't want to, if they don't want to play Sink Belows or anything like that, it's nice though. So yeah, I think it's a fresh. We'll see how much of it's actually played though. Calm Veil of Volthaven, which is showing Lexi again. Surely she's back. Surely. This is a lightning instant at common, and this one comes in all 3 colors. And it costs 2, and it says prevent the next 3 damage will be dealt to you this turn. The first time you prevent damage this way, create a lightning flow token, and it's also prevent 2 and 1. I think a little inefficient for CC. I know why this is here. It's for the limited format. So I'm probably like low stale, bordering on rotten. You know, if this is what we're doing, that's like a lot of resources to kind of commit to, you know, essentially just blanking 3 damage, but you get the lightning flow. I could see why you would play it, but yeah, low stale. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. And next we got Cosmic Flare. This is a red 0-cost lightning instant common, and it says gain 3 resources. I think, you know, I don't know what we're going to do with this, but it seems good. It's good out of the arsenal. It's a good thing to discard with the Cilio. I'm going to say it's fresh and probably pretty decent, right? Am I crazy? Yes, I am crazy. I've been talking to myself for the past couple hours, but I think this is fresh, and I don't know why yet. But I think the out of the arsenal alone is good. Pitching 3 out of your arsenal is awesome. So at instant speed too. Next we have Star World Warning. Whoa, what does that mean? This is a lightning instant common. It's a yellow that costs 1, and it says create 2 lightning flow tokens. I'm in on this. You don't have to do any extra work. It's nice to discard to Cilio. Creating 2 seems better than 1, right? You wonder if this was ever a full cycle where the red created 3, but I think they probably wanted to avoid that, understandably, but I think this is a fresh. If we want to create these, here you go. Here's a nice yellow you can just jam in the deck and create some extra lightning flows. Next we got Starlight Road, which is a blue 0-cost lightning instant that says, it's also a common, create an embodiment lightning or lightning flow token. At a blue, I'm a fan. If I like the other card, surely I like this one, and I do. So I think this is a fresh as well. I mean, it's a good blue, I feel like, for these decks, right? You have to have the engine, right? It's almost like the what are the cards from MST, the Transcend cards, yes. The Transcend cards from MST. It's like you kind of had to have a certain amount of them to make the deck work, and you kind of have to create a certain amount of lightning flows to make these decks work. And you know, luckily they all have some instant matters synergies. So I think Starlight Road is a fresh. I'll say it. I'm not afraid. Next is Storm Shard. This is a lightning instant common. It's a 1 cost. You may destroy a lightning flow you control rather than pay this card's cost. Target lightning attack, it's +3. I'm trying to remember if they are banning Lightning Press. But if they are, this is good. If they aren't, I guess it's still okay. So, I don't really remember. But Lightning Press seems really good with all these heroes. Obviously, they're lightning heroes. So, that being said, more Lightning Presses, probably good. If you got the extra resource, sure. And if you have the extra lightning flow, sure. So, I'm going to say low fresh, because to stay consistent with me not wanting to get rid of my lightning flows unless it really is impactful. Although this would be pretty impactful. +3 for 0 is pretty impactful. So maybe it's just a solid fresh. I talked myself into it. Who needs somebody on the podcast with me when I can just argue with myself? Next we have Storm Shatter, which is the same card except it says target lightning attack, it's -3. It costs 1. It's a yellow, and you may destroy a lightning flow you control rather than pay this card's resource cost. This is a rotten. It's too narrow. You don't want to be doing this in CC. Very good in limited though. Or Sage Omens block constructed. I don't know. But yeah, Storm Shatter, just not going to do it. And then we have Storm Whirl, which is a blue 1-cost lightning instant that says you may destroy lightning flow you control rather than pay this card's cost. And it says target lightning attack gets go again. I think this is just not good enough. This is the weakest, like, probably of the 3. Like the other one, like, obviously very narrow, but when it does its thing, it's pretty neat. This is, I guess, like, getting rid of a lightning flow for a go again is good for free, but it's a card out of your deck. I'm gonna say a high stale on this. Like, it still gives something go again, which is good. So, like, I guess you can Tempestuous Kiss, Storm Whirl it, and you're cooking. So there's that. Yeah. So maybe it's, I'm going to stay with high stale. This one is one of those, like, not surprised to see it played against me in CC, but wouldn't be surprised if I never saw it played against me in CC as well. Next, we have Chromatic Refinement, which is a lightning instant aura that comes in all 3 colors. It costs 0, and it says at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. Then the next red, yellow, or blue, based on the color of this card, yes. This turn costs 1 less to play. The first time that card would deal damage this turn. Instead, it deals that much +1. Really, this is not going to cut the mustard in Classic Constructed, I don't think. Just the way these decks seem to be going, I don't know if they're setting up to do things with attacks. They're setting up to do bigger things with their auras and their instants. And this one doesn't seem that great. Although this is actually not attacks. Next red card. I don't know if I still don't know if this is what I want to be doing. I'm going to say rotten for this. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Because guess what? I could be. Next we got Thunderous Retort, which is a lightning instant aura. Is it only 1 color? No, it's all 3 colors. Wow. It costs 0, and it comes in all 3 colors, as I said. It says, at the beginning of your next action phase, destroy this, then your next attack this turn gets go again. And it has AB3 or AB2 or AB1 based on the color. Obviously, the AB matters for like 1 turn because this will be destroyed. And this is probably just for limited. So it's a 0 cost embodiment that you get a little extra bonus AB at the time. I guess it's fine, but this is probably limited. Maybe low stale for Thunderous Retort. And we got Sigil of Astral Flow. I think our first Sigil of the set. I think there's only a couple, honestly. There's 3. One of them's a reprint. Sigil of Astral Flow is a lightning instant aura that's blue, costs 0. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and when this leaves the arena, create a lightning flow token. I think that this is probably good. I mean, there's Sigil synergies from previous sets, specifically Rosetta, and that being said, there's also a lot of things going on with the Cilio. I could see this being pretty good being able to discard this and play it. And then also you have the arm piece that, when a sigil leaves, etc., etc., etc. It's a pretty efficient way to get a lightning flow. So, and it's a blue like the other sigils. So, yeah, I would say this is probably just a solid, maybe low fresh to medium fresh. And then Sigil of Lightning is back. That's a reprint. It's as good as it ever was. And then Spellbane Sigil is a new one, which is a blue 0-cost lightning instant aura at common. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and it has Arcane Barrier X. If you be dealt arcane damage, you may pay X to prevent X of that damage. Kind of a sideboard card. It is interesting, right? Like, Arcane Barrier X is really good against tall arcane, right? So I would say sideboard stale, but if like you're on a tall arcane build and one of these lightning heroes throws this out from their arsenal the turn you're going off, you're going to be like, oh no. So you just got to hope they all have all reds, I guess. But yeah, I think this is probably, sideboard stale. All right, let's go to some generics. We have another legendary. Boots of Omnis Ward. Generic equipment legs. Blocks for 1. Has temper. And it says if you've been dealt arcane damage this turn, this gets +1. And it also has instant. Tap your hero. Destroy this. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to you this turn. I like this as an option for generic boots. It clearly has implications into Runeblade, where you're going to be dealt split damage. You'll get the buff. You get to do both. And then if you really need to, you can prevent 1 damage as well. While it's on the combat chain too, I guess. Before it gets destroyed with the temper of the second block. And yeah, I think that all that being said, I wouldn't say this is a fresh to death, but I think it's a really good option. Of course, it's a legendary, so it is going to be good, but it's a high fresh to me. Sideboard high fresh for sure. The Seekers are back. Like Seeker's Hood, Seeker's Gilet, Seeker's Mitts, Seeker's Leggings are back, and they're as good as they were before. And they didn't really see play in CC, so you don't have to worry about them. Next, we have Helm of Astral Supremacy. Now, I want to see if actually all of these have the same text. So we have Helm of Astral Sanctuary, Robe of Astral Sanctuary, Gloves of Astral Sanctuary, and Boots of Astral Sanctuary. These are all generic equipment pieces that block for 0, and they all have the same text that says instant, tap your hero, destroy this, prevent the next 1 damage to be dealt to you this turn. It's for limited. Rotten otherwise, I think, if you're playing a highly competitive CC deck, you're going to have a higher rarity stuff available to you. But these will be good in this draft format. Next, we got Browbeat, which is a blue 0-cost generic attack action majestic that attacks for 1 and blocks 3. It costs 0. This gets +1 for each card in your hand. So this one's interesting, right? Like I think ideally you want to attack with this with at least 3 cards in your hand. Right? Other than that, what are you doing? But I think it's probably, golly. I mean, you want it to have go again. So like some of these heroes have, go again implications. You start off with a Snapdragon Scaler or something like that. I don't know. This is like a cool card, but what's fun about this? There's going to be like a situation where they're going to have a hero be able to draw their whole deck and not be able to do anything with it. They just it's going to say something like, draw your whole deck. You get 1 action point, right? And you either do browbeat or fire breathing. and that's it. And that will be cool. It'll be good then. I don't know if it's really where we want it yet. So I'm going to say for now it's like a stale, but keep an eye out on it. It's a blue block 3. Next we have Step Between, which is it's not a Dave Matthews Band song. That is Space Between. But this is a Step Between. This is a Majestic generic attack action card. At Majestic, which I think I said, it's a red 0 cost, attacks for 4 and blocks 2, decent stats. While this is attacking or on the stack, opponents can't play or activate instants. And then it has instant, pay 1 and tap your hero. This gets +1 and damage can't be prevented this combat chain. I like this as a sideboard option. I would say this is sideboard fresh where, this is going to be good into certain things, right? Like, a lot of ward is very good into it. And then also anybody who's trying to instant kill you or try to get something off on you, this is going to be annoying because it's like there was an old Magic keyword back in the day when I played 15 years ago. I think it was split second. Like basically it's like, hey, nope, you can't play anything right now. I have all the priority. So doesn't mean you can't do D-reacts or anything like that. How good it will be, I'm not sure. Like how often it will be a good sideboard option, but like it's a sliding scale with some of these sideboard cards because if it's going to be good, it will be in sideboards, right? So I'm going to say stale right now. I just don't see a lot of great opportunities. I guess like Prism, but Prism's probably LLing sooner rather than later. So, and maybe we're going to get more Prism stuff in the fall. So look out for it then. Next we have Tempt Over, the Gunnar art of the set, which is a yellow 0 cost, Majestic, 3 attack, 3 block, generic attack action card. When this attacks a hero, steal an aura token they control until end of turn. So if you can steal a Ponder that they created on your turn, that's pretty good. Steal Fealty from either Syndra or Fang. It's way better against Fang. That's pretty good. But other than that, it's just okay. Like I said, I think there's just better things to steal, but as there becomes more options to steal stuff, I can see this seeing more play. It's kind of funny, like in the mirror, like of these lightning heroes, you can steal lightning flow, then activate your hero's ability if they don't activate theirs in response. Yeah. I think this is okay. It's like a sideboard high stale. All right, good stats for sure, but I feel like Cutting Retort is like a card that I am more willing to be playing. You get to destroy the stuff, you can convert it into +1, where this is a little bit more narrow in my opinion. So sideboard like high stale, but could get better. Next we have Ominous Aggression, which is a generic instant at rare, costs 2, it's a red. Target attack action card gets +2. If an aura you control was destroyed this turn, instead it gets +4. I think it's a little narrow for the set. I don't think you'd really play this in any of these heroes outside of a limited environment. I think it's probably like low stale because like I could see some, implications here, or applications, I should say. But why not just play a Pummel? it's the same rate. So, and you get the discard, and it blocks for 2. So, kind of like a low stale, high rotten for Ominous Aggression. Then we have Ominous Excavation, which is a blue 0 cost generic instant at rare. And it says you may shuffle an instant card from your graveyard into your deck. If an aura you control was destroyed this turn, create a Ponder token. I think this is more bread and butter for the limited format. I'm going to just give this a straight up rotten. We've already seen better cards that recur, and this also requires some other stuff going on to get the Ponder token. And we also have Ominous Respite, which is a yellow 1-cost generic instant. It says gain 2 life. If an R you control was destroyed this turn, instead gain 3 life. I think, well, funny enough, it would have been pretty okay, I guess, in Verdance, because, like, you know, an embodiment would blow up or whatever. But I think that this is just okay. I'm going to give this a stale. It's life gain, so, you know, it all finds its way. If you want more Sigil of Solace, this is kind of that, some in one way or another, that sometimes will gain the 3. Maybe we get a Cleric at some point that's good, but for now, I think it's just kind of filler. And then we have Conflicting Thoughts, which is kind of what I've been doing back and forth with myself for the past couple hours. Conflicting Thoughts is a common generic attack that comes in all 3 colors. This is a 0 for 4 that blocks 3, and when this attacks, opt 1. Yeah, I don't think this is just more draft filler, to be honest. I don't really see any reason to play this, because I mean it's a good rate. Like, so, like, that being said, it's like if you're looking for a 0 for 4 that blocks 3 and your class doesn't have a lot of those, I guess this is there. But either way, it's like probably low stale. Like, opting is good for sure. Maybe Blaze wants to play it in Silver Age, so there's that. So keep that in mind. But other than that, I just would stay away from Conflicting Thoughts. I would not conflict your thoughts on this one. I would say just stay away. Brush Off was reprinted. That's as good as it ever was. Now we have some expansion slots. Ooh, these are always fun. Unmake the Underlings, a blue 0-cost Majestic Assassin attack action card. Attacks for 1 and blocks 3. Has stealth. When this attacks a hero, turn an ally in their graveyard face down. When this hits an ally, destroy that ally. Yeah, this is a sideboard fresh for any assassin that's playing into ally-based decks. I think it's quite good. I mean, obviously, it's way better into Gravy. You get to get rid of essentially 2 allies in 1 card. So, yeah, this is kind of a banger. And then in Slippy, it's got Go Again, so you can do even more cool stuff. Well, I guess you have to choose one or the other. When this attacks a hero, you get to turn the ally in the graveyard face down. I misread it for a second, but still good. Sideboard fresh, for sure. One of the coolest cards that we got, Feral Instinct. This is a yellow 3-cost Majestic. That's a brute attack action card. Attacks for 6, blocks 3. Classic brute stats. If you've intimidated an opponent this turn, this costs 3 less to play. A 0 for 6. That's awesome. A lot of potential with this card. You know, 1 barraging beatdown, you're like already cooking. So I think that this is a very, very high fresh. I'm going to try not to say fresh to death, but I want to. Feral Instinct is pretty awesome. We got the log, folks. Pile Driver is here. This is the Betsy specialization Guardian Weapon log, 2-handed. It attacks for 6. And how do you attack with it? You have to pay 4 resources and tap it to attack. And when this attacks, you may wager a gold token with the defending hero. I mean, yeah, this is kind of everything that Betsy wanted. I don't know if this pushes her over the edge, but let's just give her the fresh to death rating just for her being able to play it. Because it is sick. It is sick being able to just kind of get the wager going whenever. And, you know, the resource stat line makes sense with everything else that she's doing. It's very, very cool. It sucks you can't pummel this. But you know, maybe we'll get an errata for Pummel to be able to target logs. Next, we got Swift Pickup. Now, we're going to have some shurikens to talk about after this, but this is a zero cost red majestic. That's a ninja attack action card that attacks for 3 and blocks 2. And when this attacks, you may put a shuriken item from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. If you do, this gets +1. So I'm going to just talk about the shurikens real quick. There are, how many of them? There's 3 shurikens. So they're all legendary. First one's Evasive Nagaboshi. They're all going to have the same stat line. Let me just double check. Yeah, same stat line. So they're all blue, 0 cost, ninja instant shuriken item that have an attack value of 1 and a block value of 2. They're all legendary, so you can only have 1 in the deck, and the rest of this is all different. So Evasive Nagaboshi has action, pay 1, tap it, destroy this when the combat chain closes, attack. Go again. So you can attack with the 1. This can't be defended by equipment or reaction cards, which is pretty cool. And then the Razor Ring is the other one that says when this hits a hero, it's all the same stats. You can pop them to attack, basically. When this hits a hero, the next action card they defend with this combat chain gets -1 until end of turn. So Razor Ring is like basically a spider's bite that hits even all non-attack action cards as well. And then finally, Stun Star, same stat line, but this one says when this hits a hero, tap them. So these are all pretty decent, right? Kind of cool. And the fact that you can kind of recur them into your deck with the card that we started talking about, Swift Pickup, is really neat. I like the idea because we have some other shurikens, and then we have ways to get shurikens out of your deck, which is pretty neat. I'm forgetting the name of those cards right now, but that is a cool little ninja package. And honestly, I'm low-key excited for a shuriken-based ninja, because if this is telling me anything, is that's what we're going to get, and it's going to be like awesome. So that being said, I think like all 4 of these together, kind of lumping them together, is pretty fresh. Like, I love that this is kind of like a package that you can run in Ninja now, but really just gets me excited for the Shuriken Ninja that is most certainly coming at some point. And where are we now? Gear Turner. That's what I was doing. I was turning my gears. This is a Mechanologist attack action card that's at Majestic. It's a red. It costs 1 and attacks for 5 and blocks for 3. When this hits, you may search your deck for a cog, put it into the arena, then shuffle. Yeah, this is pretty good, right? So you attack with this. It's a 1 for 5. Good stats, right? And then your opponent's like, The first time your opponent lets this hit, they're going to hopefully learn. In my case, it'll take a couple times. But opponents will be like, oh, well, they don't have any more action points. Oh, yeah, I'll take it. And then you go get the cog, and you crank it, and you have an action point, and you're like, oh, that's how that works. Yep. So, pretty neat. I think this is like a fresh. I don't think it's like game-breaking or anything like that, but it's a nice little bonus for the decks that could run it. Next, we have Arcbane Grasp, which is a blue 0-cost Majestic Mechanologist instant equipment Evo base arms that blocks for 0. If you have a base arms equipped, transform it into this, then equip this. And when this is equipped, create a Spellbane Aegis, and it also has Arcane Barrier 1. Some more tools for Teklo, right? We already saw Teklo's kind of on the up and up, so this is probably like a sideboard fresh, I would say. Teklo fans, sound off in the comments because I could be way off. Settle the Bill is a red, 1 cost, 3 block, Majestic Ranger non-attack action that says you may put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. If you do, until end of turn, it gets +3, and when this hits a hero, destroy a card in their arsenal. So there's some arrows this really works well with. Thinking Remorseless, thinking, like the 0 cost arrows from what was that? High Seas, like Swift Shot and the Cannonball Shot, stuff like that. It's hard for me to picture playing this in Riptide, but I think that maybe Marlin can make some good use of this, like maybe a more low to the ground version of Marlin. I think aggro Riptide can make use of it. I think probably the next Ranger will make the most use of it, which hopefully is the dude in that picture because he looks awesome. And hopefully go back to the pits. It's a good card. It's a fine card. So I think it's like a low fresh right now. I don't think it'll see a lot of play. Probably maybe like high stale amount of play right now. But eventually I could see this being kind of pretty potent, depending on, what gets printed. Next we got Beckon Steel, which is a blue 0 cost warrior attack reaction that blocks for 3 and Majestic. It says target sword attack gets, when this hits, sharpen this sword. Then if the sword has 3 or more +1 counters on it, attack with this. So there was some new rule text about the attack queue and the idea of just being able to attack with something. I believe this will just create another attack in the queue, and then after this attack resolves, you'll go on to the next attack, which is pretty cool. I think that blue 0 cost 3 block warrior attack reaction that sharpens in like Hala is going to be pretty good. I think Hala is poised to be good once Mastery Pack comes out. Right now, it's just like maybe a low fresh, but I could see this being like a high fresh in Hala. When the dust settles on this. Cool card though. Next we got Crash Site Salvage, which is a yellow 0 cost Majestic Pirate Mechanologist attack action card that attacks for 3 and blocks for 3. It has Scrap as an additional cost to play this. You may banish an item or equipment from your graveyard. When this attacks, if it scrapped a card, this gets go again. If a cog was scrapped this way, create a gold token. So between this and Gear Turner, I'm liking Puffin. With these 2 cards, I feel like Puffin was already pretty good, right? And these are just kind of naturally like sick cards. Gold creation, cogs. I'm going to give this a high fresh. I think this card's very good. I think Scrap is an underutilized mechanic, and I'm happy to see this printed. I think this is an awesome Scrap card. So get your cogs out, folks. Get your cogs out. Nah, that sounds weird. Moving on. Golden Skull. This is a yellow 0 cost Majestic Pirate Necromancer action item. Has go again, and it counts as a gold, and it has Watery Grave. Kind of a bread and butter for Gravy Bones. Not too powerful, but totally usable. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of cool. I don't know how good it actually will be, but I guess like you discard this to your Golden Tipple, pretty good. So all that being said, it's probably like a high stale, like low fresh. I don't think it's gonna tip the barkeep. No, tip Gravy Bones in a certain direction, but it is neat. Red Lore Harpoon is a blue 2 cost Majestic Pirate Ranger attack action card, Arrow, that attacks for 4 and blocks 3. It has Harpoon in the name. That is noteworthy. If you've activated a cannon this turn, this gets, when this hits a hero, banish a red action card from your graveyard. You may play it until the end of your next turn. Ooh, that's pretty spicy. Marlin's another hero that has been getting slowly scarier, I will say. And giving this go again with the Sile Sarong. It seems pretty good. I don't know. This like feels like a high fresh. This is going to be kind of scary. This is like a must block, right? And it's very hard to block these harpoons. So get your D-Reacts out, folks, I guess. I think this is a very high fresh. Next, we got Fortitude of Anvilheim. I'm big on this card. This is a legendary Guardian Warrior Equipment offhand. 2 block. Attack reaction, pay 2. Tap your hero, destroy this. Return an action card defending a weapon attack to its owner's hand. And this has Guardwell. First of all, I think we're getting the Anvilheim Dwarf set. We gotta be. Right? Come on. And I want to see what a one-handed, what kind of like sauce we can do with the warrior. Yeah, this makes sense with certain guardians, whatever, but I want to see this card with a dwarf warrior from Anvilheim. And for that reason, it's fresh to death. It's a route on a stick that blocks 2. That's pretty sick. That is pretty sick. You know what's even sicker? Is this card, a bit off the side. This is a red 0-cost Majestic Guardian / Warrior action that blocks for 3, and it says until end of turn, axes you control get, when this hits a hero, they discard a card, go again. Hatchets are back, folks. I mean, this is also pretty decent in Decimator, but like attacking with 2 axes, play this out of the arsenal, go boom, Blade Runner, ooh, ah, bam, bam. You just gotta block it. You do it on a blood spill turn. Oh my god. So good. This is arguably the most exciting card out of the set for me. But yeah, this is gonna be really cool. Bit off the side. Fresh to death to me. And I won't be hearing arguments otherwise. I think it's just too good. Next, we got Blessing of Aegis, which is a yellow 0-cost light action aura that blocks for 3 at Majestic. It has go again, and whenever a card is put into your soul, gain 1 life. At the start of your turn, put this into your soul. I don't know what the implications are for this, because does this mean that we're going to get a light cleric? You know, I feel like why is this light only? Right? Like, yeah, sure, Bolton and Prism can make use of this. Prism's on her way out. Bolton might like this a little bit. I don't think so. It does get something into soul pretty easily. I think right now it's probably like a high stale, but I could see this being like, if there's a light cleric, folks, watch out for this card. So currently high stale, will probably scale up from stale. Next we got Draco Fire. This is a red 0-cost Draconic Instant Majestic. Your next Draconic attack this turn gets +2 and costs 1 less to play or activate. While this is in your graveyard, at the start of your turn, you may banish 2 cards named Draco Fire from your graveyard. If you do, gain 1 resource. Yeah, this card's really cool. This is I think a good Fang card, to be honest, but I could see it being played in Syndra and Fi as well. Play the full set, and yeah, I mean the extra resource at a certain point with Fang is not as good, but like, what do you play? Perforate that costs 1, so then you can kind of like do the Draco, like pop the Draco Fires out of your graveyard on a Perforate turn when you're already online. It seems pretty sick, honestly. I think it's a fresh. I'm more excited for this in Fang than anything else, I think. But the art is also just so incredible. Draco Fire, really neat. And we're down to our last couple cards. We have Induce Panic. This is a yellow chaos block at Majestic that blocks for 2. And when this defends, choose a color. Each hero reveals a random card from their hand. If it's the chosen color, they discard it. Yeah, this is awesome. This is a really cool chaos card because you have a lot of agency here, right? So you can block, look at your hand. It's like, well, I don't have any reds. I'm going to name red. Or I don't have any of this. I'll name that. Or I just block however I want and I name whatever I think they have. And yeah, like you can really, like in the aggressive decks, against aggressive decks, you can, this is basically like a blunton. This is the chaos blunton. So, yeah, that being said, I think maybe like sideboard fresh. I don't know if you play this in every matchup, but like I think against the aggressive red line decks, you throw this in, you say red, and you're just like, you're cooking, right? So, yeah, really cool card. It is chaos, so it's going to be a little bit chaotic, but that's okay. That's okay. We got Betsy's Log, and then we also got Lyeth's Maul. It's a hammer axe. Reviled Guardian Weapon. It attacks for 1, and you have to pay 2 to attack and tap it. And if this has attack greater than its base, it gets +1, and when this hits a hero, the crowd boos you. So you can play 2 of these. You got to give one go again somehow, but I think it's probably, I would say it's a better option than the Titan's Fist right now, because it's coming in for 3 with a might no matter what. If you got more might, it's coming in more. And then you get the threaten, the boo as well. You can play cool cards like, you can play Blood Spill. No, wait, that's only Warrior. You can play the bit off the side or whatever, which is cool. It is cool. That being said, I mean, like, it's an automatic fresh, I think, for Lyeth because it's just a good option for him. And the 2 cost is interesting. You can pummel this, which is neat. Yeah. Why not? I think it's cool. I think it's cool, folks. We'll say fresh. Next we have Starfield Veil. I don't know why these are in the expansion slots, but maybe they're in the they are in the armory deck for Ziggy, and they don't want it in the draftable part of the set. I think we kind of did the same thing with Pleiades, if I remember correctly. Starfield Veil, Majestic Lightning Illusionist Equipment Headpiece that blocks for 2, has Guardwell, instant destroy this the next R you play this turn, enters the arena with a hollow counter, activate this only if an attack is fragmented this turn. Guardwell, good. Headpiece, contested slot, interesting effect. This is going to be as good as you want that effect to be, right? So, this is a hard one for me to rate because at this point, it's been a while since I even talked about the Ziggy cards, but I think judging it on its merits alone, not thinking about Crown of Providence even existing or anything like that, I'm going to give this a fresh. I could see it being played. Guardwell is a really good keyword, so I'm down with it. Next is Starfield Carapace. Lightning Illusionist Equipment chess piece at Majestic. Blocks for 1, has Blade Break, and it says instant destroy this until end turn. And Aphrodisias you control costs 1 less to activate and gets, when this deals damage to an opposing hero, create a lightning flow token. Just play more lightning flow generation in the deck. You don't have to worry about the Carapace. This is just okay. I would say probably stale compared to your other options for Ziggy. And then finally, Starfield Touch, which is a lightning illusionist equipment arm piece at Majestic. Blocks for 1, has Battle Worn, and has instant. Pay 1, destroy this. Untap an Aphrodisias you control. This one might actually be good enough, right, to push another 2 Arcane to win. You get the Battle Worn block. That's nice. I'm going to give this a fresh. I think this is probably, of the 3, I could see, I'm trying to think of a better hand slot than this for Ziggy, and it's not coming to me, but I'm not an illusionist player really. But Starfield Touch, serviceable, I think, and probably will be the choice. But all that being said, folks, that is Omens of the Third Age. Thank you so much for spending time with me, listening to me. These are fun to do, take up a decent amount of time. So if you made it this far and you enjoyed it, please, if you don't already, give the old like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you listen on Spotify or anything like that, you can rate it, follow me, whatever. It all helps the channel for free. I also have a Patreon. I think I just got an email about content creator promos. So usually, depending on how many I get, first come, first serve goes to the Patreon subscribers, whether that be just in general or by some kind of giveaway. And what else? I have another podcast called Fresh Juice. It's an indie game podcast I do with my cousin every week. And what did we do this week? We just did a game talk. We talked about some games. I've still been playing a lot of Blackjack. It's a fun game. And then check me out on Blue Sky, stuff like that. If you see me at Minneapolis, say hi. If you see me at pre-releases this weekend, say hi. I'll be going to Bearded Dragon and Gilded Raven. That's what we have here in Jersey. Just one descriptor and an animal after. That's how we do it. Yeah, let me know in the comments what I got wrong, what I got right. Did I say anything that sounded cool? Am I way off on a bit off the side? I don't think so. The card seems sweet. And yeah. Anyway, finally, always like to talk about food. End of every episode. It's just me. I get to talk about what I like to eat. And I will say, Lady Fresh tonight made her famous, world famous stuffed shells, stuffed pasta shells, that nice super cheesy goodness in there, beautiful tomato sauce on there. And it gave me all the energy to do this podcast. And it was sick. But it didn't give me the energy to talk to Charmer, but I'll get to him next time. Stay fresh.